Julian, the floor is now back to yours.
Firstly, thanks to all those people that did go and sign up for T-Stats. We all dream about being number one in web searches. As your DMO, we want to share something with you that may help you improve your own search ranking. If your inbox is anything like mine, you will have many emails every day telling you how you have a great website, but it can be made so much better with the application of techniques that will improve your SEO. Over the next few minutes, I hope that I can help you understand SEO a little better and introduce you to some free tools that are very useful. Tools that can point you in the right direction with your own SEO without spending money on what can be perceived as a dark art. Now, how much of a dark art is it? The digital industry is great at generating multiple names for the same thing. Confusion and mystery is good for making people feel insecure and afraid that they are not doing something that they should be. However, as organisations that own the search engines get more sophisticated, the individual businesses like us who work on our own websites have to work less hard. Google and Microsoft make money from their users. They fight fiercely to be the number one browser. To be the best, they have to ensure that users are able to find exactly what they want as quickly as they can, without landing on dodgy sites, on ads pretending to be content, and directory sites, you know, the ones that have lots of links to other sites. The browser's organic search function focuses entirely on the person searching. They are not commercially influenced. It's really important to understand this and work to help the browsers achieve this. There are two main elements of SEO, technical and on-site SEO. Understanding the activities of bots at this point would be very helpful. Search engines use crawler bots, also called spiders. They're clever bits of code that go through your website. They track the path to all the content focusing on popular search terms and keywords. Every word on your website is read and the URL path to the content is stored to be delivered back in search results. Now, you don't want to think too hard on that one because it will melt your mind. But it is worth noting, whilst videos, pictures, graphics and PDFs are recognised as good for user experience, the only thing that a bot sees is the title that you give that piece of media. Technical SEO relates to the website structure. The URL should make it really clear what the user will find. When creating the name of the website page, you should try and get the search terms in that page name. The bots will record the URL path for the content, and you can make this easier by ensuring that your sitemap on your website is updated. Bots follow internal links. They like sites that take people quickly through to content that they're looking for. For attractions, opening times and prices need to be linked on most pages. For accommodation, a link to availability and prices. Restaurants, it will be menus and table bookings. This isn't a dark art. Make it easy for your website visitor and the search engines like it. Outbound links and backlinks are assigned to the bots that your business is well connected. If your website is well connected, then it is assumed to be trusted, particularly if you're linked to high regarded websites like the DMOs. A backlink is where you link your page to another site and they link back to you. and search engines like these. People use search engines to find information, and if you can deliver that quickly and better than other websites, then you will be winning the ranking battle. Bots read your website, so you need plenty of content. Quality, easy to read content that is rich in the search terms that people actually use. And bots are fussy. They don't like spelling errors. They don't like over-lengthy paragraphs. Sentence structure needs to be brief, and bots like subheadings. And if you're already writing your content in this way, you are doing SEO work. Google has an app called Google Search Console. This shows you what search terms people actually used to trigger your website appearing in search engine results. It shows you how you ranked on each search term. It shows your page activity and how your individual pages rank. This is a powerful tool, and it's free. Google Search Console will show you how many people click on your listing in search results. This number will be bigger than what's being shown in your Google Analytics because it shows the data that is totally anomalized and cookies don't apply in the same way. You get a better idea of how many people are seeing your site and clicking on your site from Google Search. You can see how many searches your site appeared in, see the correlation between the clicks and the impressions. And the impressions are how many times you are actually listed in the search results. In the orange box here, you can see your ranking position. So this is your average ranking in Google search results, and you can track that. If you scroll down on the page, you can see the exact search terms people use to find your site, and there can be thousands of these search terms. Every one of these search queries can be investigated. Each individual query, you can see the number of impressions, the number of clicks, and the ranking that you get for that particular search term. From this information, you can start to question whether you have the best search terms in your content, whether it's in your page title, whether you have it there in the URL. You can make changes to your website, and you can go back to Google Search Console and see if it shows any improvements in the results. You can download all the search terms and start to understand what is working well and what is not working so well. This allows you to tweak your content, and you can measure the outcome. With Google Search Console, you can also look at the performance of the individual pages rather than the search terms on your site. You see how each page performed in Google Search, and if something is not as you expect, you can make changes. You can look at the average position of each page, and this graph shows it over time, and Annie said I can use graphs on this one. And if it's dropping, as it is on this page, it shows you immediately. And that gives you an indication that you should be refreshing your content. You can use Google Search Console to track changes in search terms people are using and can adapt your website to suit the content. Google Search Console gives you great vision of what's happening behind the scenes. I'd now like to introduce you to Moz. Does anybody here use Moz? So about 3, I think that was. A lot more are going to use it after this. First, what I'm going to do is talk about page authority. Page authority is a score from 1 to 100 that indicates how well a page may rank in search. Now, we talked earlier about the quality of content, sentence and paragraph structure, headings, subheadings, URL format. This takes all this information along with internal links, backlinks, and many, many more elements, and a score is produced for your page. Domain authority is more important than page authority because this is a score out of 100 for your whole website. Now, Moz has a toolbar which, when it's activated, shows the page authority and domain authority score for every website and every page you visit. With Moz, you can compare your website with everyone else's. Moz also allows you to see what's behind every page online. Not just your pages, pages of your competitors. You can see what metadata your competitors are using. You can check the links that they've got, and so much more. Now, I hope that this has been a useful insight to Google Search Console and Moz. At the DMO, we want to help you as much as we can with training and workshops, and we will be seeking feedback from you for workshops. But is this, hands up, if it's a subject you would like more information? Yeah, thank you very much.
Cheers, Julian. To me, this is evil against creative writing, because it basically means that you should just write about what you're seeing people are looking for rather than describing your business in an evocative way.
I have on a daily basis.
Yeah, you've got to...
Data.
Exactly. But yeah, we do this every day for the Suffolk Coast website, so that's something that's part of our expertise. So I'd now like to welcome Paul back to the stage. This is your topic, isn't it, Paul?
Yes.
So feel free to ask as many questions as you like.
Right. Thank you, David. And just before I begin, I just wanted to introduce Councillor Sarah Whitelock, who's at the back there. She's a Cabinet Member at East Suffolk Council with responsibility for tourism alongside communities and leisure. So there you go. Okay. Right. So I'm going to just do a few slides on sort of recent and proposed investments we're making in the visitor economy, both sort of capital and revenue, just to give a sense of, like I say, of what we're doing. So for those who don't know, that is a shot of the garden, Felixstowe Seafront Gardens, which was a major restoration project that East Suffolk Council funded alongside the National Heritage Fund about 10 years ago. So that was a major scheme, like I say, and still looking great. I was down there just the other day. So before I get into the sort of specific investments, it's worthwhile saying why is East Suffolk Council engaged in tourism in the visitor economy? Well, it's one of our key sectors. As was mentioned earlier, it's got an economic value of almost 700 million a year. It accounts for over 14,000 jobs, and that's over 14% of total employment. So that's significant by any measure. Our new strategic plan, which is shown there on the right-hand side, our Direction 2028, recognises this. Within the thriving economy theme, the visitor economy is a key priority around supporting growth of a responsible and sustainable tourism and visitor economy. But also, it's about encouraging investment in our key sectors, which tourism is one, and also increasing the economic viability of our towns. And many of our market and coastal towns are clearly dependent on tourism. The importance of the sector is further recognised through a specific strategy, the visitor economy strategy, which was adopted in 2022. And this clearly sets out our vision for supporting and enabling sustainable growth through ourselves, through our partners, and through the work we do. And this is both as a direct investor in our own assets, which we'll see in a few slides' time, but also promoting the Suffolk Coast as a destination. Clearly, our major route to market is through the DMO on that. So we'll start in the south of the district with Felixstowe. So, as I said, this will highlight some of our recent capital and revenue investments. So Felixstowe, for those who don't know, is the second largest town in East Suffolk, around 30,000 people, depending on how you measure the boundary. But it does have a buoyant visitor economy, a buoyant and growing visitor economy. In 2022, we opened the CU Cafe, so that's the top right, at the South Seafront. It's a iconic design. It was intentionally meant to make a statement on the coast there. It's been highly successful so far, perhaps exceeded expectations, and it provides a sort of quality food and beverage offer in an underserved area of the resort. Last year, we also launched the Beach Village, which is the bottom image there. That includes accessible beach pods for hire, new beach huts for sale and rent, new toilets and changing room facility, and also within a sort of quality landscaped environment. And a sister project to this is the activity park, which you can see in the top left. And that includes a petanque pitch, climbing wall, outdoor gym, table tennis, chess, etc. Again, all within a sort of a well-landscaped area. So just some of the examples of recent investments in Felixstowe. In terms of future plans, well, we had a vision for the whole of the town, for Felixstowe, in going back to about 2016. We're currently refreshing that. We're going to be doing some master planning, but the tourism, the resort area of Felixstowe is a key area within this sort of vision. And some of the sort of early schemes that we're now looking at for the future include working with the Heritage Lottery Fund to make the Martello P Tower more accessible. Again, that's on the South Seafront. Working closely with the Landguard Trust on the Landguard Gateway project, which is going to be a new gateway to the nature reserve and the fort. And also a landscaping and revitalisation scheme around the seafront gardens on Sea Road, and looking at how we can work with the highways team at Suffolk County Council and to incorporate that area and enhance the visitor experience. And for those familiar with that area, we've got Beach Street, we've got the new cafe, we've got the CU. There's quite a lot of recent development going on in that area, and it's definitely extending the resort southwards. It's also worth mentioning that throughout the whole district, we enable events, and clearly they've got, they're about increasing footfall and driving visitors to the area. We engaged a number of years back in some sort of key stakeholder research that included businesses, town councils, visitors and residents to understand the sort of challenges and opportunities across a number of our towns. And one of the outcomes of that was this sort of events program enabling local towns to host events, whether that's through sort of guidance and information or, pump priming with funding, etc. It was around driving footfall into towns, enhancing that sort of pride of place, especially after COVID, and something that not only benefits visitors but also residents as well. So towns such as Southwold, Bungay, Aldborough, Saxmundham, Beccles, Halesworth, Felixstowe and Lowestoft have all benefited from hosting these events. And it hasn't just been a case of enabling events, it's also been providing training to how you put on events to make this programme more sustainable. And we're currently developing a successor programme which we hope to announce in the coming months. And it's not just about local events as well. We've been looking at sort of, large events and enabling those in the area, so those of national and international importance. We've got a long history of hosting the women's and men's Tour of Britain cycling races, which have a national and international profile. Previous examples in the past include Aldborough, Southwold and Beccles that have benefited from either a start or a finish. And last year there was a start and a finish in Felixstowe. And clearly this has huge benefit for the local businesses. It showcases the area to new visitors. It gets national TV coverage. And And we're currently in advanced talks to host the 2024 Men's Tour of Britain within the district. So further details on that in the coming weeks and months. And going back to the sort of our work across towns as well, we're also involved in branding, sort of physical and digital branding. We supported towns to do this work through direct funding and putting them in touch with different suppliers. Again, this is around raising the profile of these areas as destinations, and this includes new wayfinding, visitor websites, place branding. And again, key examples of that, and some of them are on the screen there, include Woodbridge, Leiston, Bungay, who've all been beneficiaries of this investment and support. I'm sure many of you will have heard of the First Light Festival, and the head of the First Light Festival is in the audience today, Genevieve Christie. So East Suffolk Council were instrumental in working with Genevieve and other partners to develop the First Light Festival. It's a nationally renowned festival now, and for those who don't know, held at Lowestoft South Beach every June to coincide with the longest day. The first festival is put together by the First Light Festival Community Interest Company, and this year will be its 4th year of the full festival. And it's around celebrating the most easterly point, and also I believe I'm correct in saying it's the largest free festival on a beach in the UK. So that's quite significant. In terms of the 2023 event, which took place last year, there was 40,000 people attended, which represented a 15% increase on the previous year. Average spend per head on the festival site was £30. 100% occupancy within local hotels and B&Bs in the area. And there was a massive sort of press and media features, 120 press features in total, including 2 articles within The Guardian, 2 television features and 10 radio interviews, all profiling Lowestoft and that wider area as a tourism destination. There's been very strong engagement with local groups in the development of the festival, and it does form part of a wider cultural programme in the area. So moving on to some of other big capital investments, we're undertaking a major regeneration programme in Lowestoft at the moment. Lowestoft, obviously, at the far north of the district. It's our largest town. Over 70,000 people live there. But it does have some key sort of socioeconomic challenges, deprivation challenges. So there's a significant investment programme, and a lot of this is around sort of using leisure, culture and visitor-focused facilities as a driver for growth and regeneration in the town. What we've got on the slide there on the left-hand side is the post office building, which we bought back in 2018 and are currently redeveloping into a new gallery, cafe and teaching space. It will be operated by Messens East, which is a national gallerist. They've got facilities across the country. And the first artist in residence will be Lawrence Edward, who is an internationally renowned sculptor, but with strong Lowestoft connections. And for those of you who drove through Yoxford this morning, or past Yoxford, you would have seen the Yoxford Man, which is one of his sculptures, so quite significant there. The other picture is of the proposed cultural quarter. This is the biggest development within our Towns Fund programme in Lowestoft, £24 million. And it's around delivering an enhanced leisure and cultural development in the heart of the town centre, adjacent to the current Marina Theatre. And it also includes investment in the theatre itself as well, so there'll be a new cultural space, improved sort of studio space, and a restaurant in the theatre. Completion of that project is due March 2026, so coming in the next couple of years. Moving on to the sort of seafront in Lowestoft, we have an initiative called the Seafront Vision, and this is very much focused around the Royal Plain and the Royal Green area, and this is an area which surrounds the recently refurbished East Point Pavilion. It's an important gateway space that links the seafront to the town centre, and it's around creating a year-round multifunctional space for events, markets, social gatherings and play space. There's a long resort-focused history for this area, dating back to the 1840s, which was established by Sir Samuel Morton Peto, a famous son of the town. In terms of improvements, we're looking at enhanced lighting, increased planting, pedestrian and cycle infrastructure, enhanced event space, new seating, and the biggest project, the highest profile amongst this, is the reinstatement and replacement of the popular fountains. It will complement the East Point Pavilion facility there, and also it will intend to improve connectivity. Construction is due to be completed in spring of 2025, so within the next 18 months to, next year to 18 months. And then moving along the beach, on Lowestoft South Beach, we secured levelling up funding a couple of years ago now, I think, and we're using that to regenerate a key public asset on the seafront and the surrounding public realm. This includes the creation of a new 2-floored building with a seafront cafe, accessible lift, new concessions, new toilets, showers, and a changing places facility. The works have just begun, so the demolition work is beginning, and with practical completion due in May 2025. And it will provide a sort of massively enhanced seafront facility on one of sort of Britain's best beaches there. I mean, if you've seen the current structure there, it's very dated, it's of its time, and and it's got some aesthetics there we want to retain. Some of the sort of the design work, we're making sure that the new building reflects that, but it definitely needed some investment and updating. So that was a very quick whiz through our recent investments and investments coming up. I mean, it's quite dynamic depending on the funding we get. We change all the time, but yeah, I think it's a significant portfolio of investment. So, any questions? Unless I've run out of time, Annie.
No, that's fine. We're ahead of time. So.
Okay.
There's always one.
Thanks for that, Paul. It's Judith Mobbs from Fire and Feast. It's really good to see the regeneration of the coastal key towns, because they are an important draw for tourists to our area and visitors. But I would like to have heard something about tourism in our rural areas and our countryside. And it did feel very much weighted towards the kind of urban the urban coastal region. Now, I understand you're not going to be investing in big infrastructure projects in the inland countryside areas, because that would actually be counterproductive. But there must be an opportunity for your strategy to draw visitors inland, and that actually benefits the coast as well, because it means it's not overcrowded. So what's the plan on that, East Suffolk?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And I mean, in terms of the sort of big infrastructure projects, that's very much led by where our assets exist as well. So clearly, we can only invest in areas where we can build in areas where we own assets. That makes life a lot easier. I did mention we have an events program, and there's other work that we've done within market towns, which supply the sort of rural area. In terms of investment in key rural areas, that's within our strategy to support that, and we will be looking at programs as we move forward to develop that. But it's an area that's probably more of a challenge for us in terms of our asset ownership and our ability to invest where we'll get the greatest return on our investment. But yeah, that is something that is part of our strategy. So it's a good point. It's a good challenge, Judith. So yeah.
Hi, me again, Paul. Leslie Hill, Chair of Leiston-cum-Sizewell Town Council. Following on the previous question, although Leiston-cum-Sizewell has got a beach, could you mention that Leiston has a place board with a view to having major regeneration of our town?
Yes, no, definitely. So we established a place board with the Town Council, CLT and other partners, I think is it about a year ago now? Must be getting on for that. And one of the key projects we're looking at is a town centre regeneration project. It's very early days. We're scoping out the opportunity. That part of that regeneration project is trying to draw more people into Leiston and show the benefits of the site. It's strongly linked to some of the investment that's going to go in through the Sizewell C development in relation to a new transport and traffic scheme. And we also, in the future, also want to try and bring forward a sort of heritage quarter within the town as well. And this all relates back to some master planning work that was undertaken in the town to provide that strategic view of where investments could be made to support Leiston.
Oh, going on to, sorry, just ask about things being done within the rural area of Suffolk rather than just the coast. The planners seem to have a strategy that doesn't represent what you're saying. In other words, I put in for planning permission and they said, no, we don't want things in a rural environment, we want them in towns, which is what more or less the point was just made. What is the strategy?
Well, I guess, yeah, I suppose it's got to be appropriate development, hasn't it? Yeah, well, as I say, yeah, I mean, as I say, I'm not a planner, but I do understand that the development needs to be appropriate to the area in which it's listed. I think the other point to make though about this, and there's why are you investing so much in urban areas? Some of this is about. It's not just about tourism development, it's about regeneration, it's about improving local economies. We look at the district as a whole, by far the greatest need is in Lowestoft. You're looking at a town that's got some of the most deprived districts in the whole of the deprived wards, deprived neighbourhoods in the whole of the country. They're within the top 10%, so these really struggling areas. So it is using our limited investment to try and have the biggest impact and return on investment, but also to address some of those sort of key challenges that we have. That's not to say we don't do things in other parts of the district, but the scale is appropriate, the investment is appropriate, and sometimes it's driven where our assets are as well, because clearly if we own our assets, it's cheaper to invest in them.
So I was talking about your assets, your investment, I was talking about
yes,
people's and your strategy rather than strategy.
Well, I think that's a planning issue as much as anything, isn't it, what you're relating to there? You've put forward a proposal which, for whatever reason, the planning department have turned down because it's against the local plan. The opportunity to address that is through the local plan review. So that's the point in which we can, because it's a policy issue. So we've got Councillor Whitelock, I think, might be coming in to respond.
On? Yep. Just as a ward councillor as well as the cabinet member, if you have a planning issue, your ward councillor may be able to help in one way or another, whether it's for or against. So if you look on the East Suffolk website, look for your local ward councillor, just explain what your thoughts are about a particular planning issue, and they should get involved and be able to either support or not. Either what you're proposing or somebody else is proposing that you may not be happy about. That's what we're here for. Thank you.
Okay.
Excuse me, any other questions? No? Paul, thank you very much.
Thank you.